All right, this is part 3 on Nick's Nova. We got it all wrapped up. He'll be here tomorrow to pick it up. He asked us to wait to fire it up till he's here. He just wants to check over a few things on the engine. So this video isn't going to have this thing running, but that's okay. Anyway, I figured I'd show everybody kind of some of the stuff that we did. So right now the power to the car is on. This is the rugged radio, like intercom system. So with the power on, it's on, and that's intentional so that he can come across the radio and say, hey, somebody hit my rear kill switch, and turn it back on. Anyway, so the shifter, well, here, first thing, there's the factory dome light. Both the doors are shut. There we go. We got a factory dome light with the doors. So if you open the doors, then just the factory dome light comes on. If you need a little bit more light when you're in the car, we've got a keypad button for that. So there we go. It's all lit up over the tunnel, overhead, whatnot. So a few things that we did that isn't super common on some of these jobs. We used a Biondo makes them automatic shutoff valve. So that's hanging off of the bottle. That, when he turns the master enable switch on, right, and you'll probably be able to hear it. Oh no, you won't be able to hear it because you see another one. But yeah, when you turn the master enable switch on, it turns on that solenoid valve and charges the system with CO2. We've got a pressure transducer there for it to pick up whatever our regulated bottle pressure, or what our actual bottle pressure is, non-regulated. We've got, so people on Facebook saw it, but you guys that, on YouTube didn't. So if he has to pull this shifter, the shifter's got a lot of stuff going on it. We put a 19 position mil-spec connector here. So his kill switch is on the shifter. This is first click marker, second click headlights. Then his keypad's mounted over here. When we go to the other side of the car, you'll see the rest of it. This is all buttoned up in here. Hold on, if you can't see, shebang. There we go. It's all booted up, sealed up. And what else we do? Let's go over to the other side of the car. We've got there we go. This is the rest of the stuff that's on the shifter. 12 position switch, and the neutral safety switch, the shifter cylinder or solenoid is right there. There's also a spare 12 volt button if he decided he wants to put a button here. Right now I've got it set up so that this can be the line lock when the master enable is not on. So if he doesn't like that, he can add another button over here on the shifter, and we've got it's up underneath it here. Also, so before anybody asks, why would you use this connector and then still have all these individual connectors? Well, the reason being is that stuff fails, right? So like if this 12 position switch goes bad, I don't want to have him cut into this boot and have to fix that. So like all he has to do, if he calls me and says, hey, this 12 position switch is bad, I ship him a new one with a connector already on it. He plugs it in, we're done. So same thing, like with a headlight switch, that could go bad. So I didn't want him to have to, fight with it. So anyway, we've also got, this was kind of neat, came up with factory turn signal switches. But we put a high beam switch here. So I'm not a fabricator. Justin's not a fabricator. So we use little all-star roll bar clamps, piece of angle. You can paint that, Nick, it'll look a little better. But Justin did sit in the car, put his foot there, and we got an angle, so it's kind of angled right for your foot. The steering wheel, because this is a drag and drive car, we have learned over the years that no matter what you do, if you've got one of these turn signal stock, that this cable is eventually going to get torn up, okay? So the way this works is you can pull the steering wheel, set it out of the way, whatever. But we also set it up so that you can completely remove this cable. So you just disconnect here and disconnect here, throw it in the seat, and then, drive all over the place. Doesn't matter. then this way the cable's not under stress getting wrapped around this, yada, yada. At a drag strip, it's not that big of a deal because you're not bobbing and weaving through parking lots and whatnot. So we've got USB bulkhead here. The top port is for the Dominator. The bottom port is for the smart wire. And then we've got a little cell phone charger. Whoops. Let's come around here. Little cell phone charger. Let's turn that off. There we go. We can turn it off. That's two USB-Cs and a USB-A. So you can turn it on. Gives you a little readout on voltage. Keep it off, whatever you want to do. The VPS is behind the dash. The smart wire switch expansion module is also behind the dash. But he'll never have to access that kind of stuff. Something on these older cars, and especially if you are a drag and drive guy, and you have trailer lights, something that a lot of people miss, and when they're sitting in a tech line and they go, shit, what do we do? We use these little, it's kind of hard to see. It's a little right here. It's a little 3-wire in, 2-wire out taillight converter box for trailers, right? So this is an older car, and what it does is, and it's not just because it's an older car, there's plenty of newer cars that do the same thing, but this is just the easiest and cheapest solution for this, right? So we've got one bulb, and when you turn the turn signal on, well, it's 2 filaments, right? So there's two filaments in the bulb. The first one is the marker light, right? So you just got a dim light. And then when you turn the turn signal on, it flashes and gets brighter, right? So what happens is when you, it'll be kind of hard. It'll be damn near impossible for me to do from here, but let's just turn on. So there we go. Okay. So it's pretty normal, right? So you've got a marker light, right? So that there's just your marker, right? And then we have the left turn signal on. Now, if I were to go in there and hit the brakes, this goes solid, right? Or this one over here goes solid. This stays solid as a brake light, right? The problem is that it takes a bunch of relays in order to accomplish that, and a bunch of complex crap. And you also have to like prepare for the trailer having to deal with that as well. So these little boxes are like 25 bucks and work fantastic. My only suggestion to y'all is that if you're going to use LED bulbs, you need to use the like more expensive LED bulbs, the ones that have the CAN bus message erroring, or the CAN bus error messaging safe, right? I think that's how they call that. So anyway, yeah. So that's all done, all up in here. Those lights, let's see here. So turn some lights on in here, and here's the engine lights. It's too bright in my shop for you to really tell. But you will be able to see spark plugs nice and easy. We got all the plug wires off of it. He just wants to run, crank and compression and whatnot. He's just being cautious. So that's why we got all the injectors unplugged and whatnot. But there's his engine harness. It just gets disconnected from there. Nick, if you're watching, if you pull the intake manifold, you'll want to just disconnect from right there. So just disconnect from the bulkhead, and then just pull your cam and crank, and then everything else is attached to the intake manifold. So we had a few little struggles with some fuel lines, and I was just noticing this one's back. We didn't plumb it, but we got 99% of them to stop leaking. That one apparently still leaking. So that's on the pump gas system. So I'll have to address that tomorrow when he's here. But yeah, it's all wrapped up. The fan is controlled by Holley. It's a PWM fan. The big Spall brushless steel. It takes a PWM negative signal. So, a couple other things that we did. I think I talked about it in the last video, but we used a Rife back pressure canister for dome pressure. So, I've explained this in other videos, but this will help dampen the pulses this thing sees from spikes of CO2. I've started putting them on every single car that we do, no matter what. Rife's new one that came out is actually really small. It's really compact. It's hard to tell in pictures on the internet, but now you at least have a sensor there, like for reference. This is very small. Filled with steel wool, it's all billet. You can pull it apart, you can clean it, pretty nice, like it. We also stubbed out for front wheel speed if he ever decides he wants to add it. It's all labeled and everything. Again, we use some he used some Rife blocks. We just make labels for them, so it's easier to identify. And the Rife blocks are nice because everything's remote mounted, you know? So like your map is just a hose. So like if it's, as you can tell, it's a pretty busy area over there on the intake manifold. Having sensors hanging off of it might be a little bit of a pain in the ass, where this is a little bit cleaner. So we are going to hopefully fire this thing up tomorrow. He's got some lights up underneath the shocks too. Turn them on here. I think I have them programmed to come on with the dome light. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So now he's got some lights up underneath of the rear end. So if he's got to work on it under there, make a bar change, nice and easy. You can actually see what you're doing instead of laying there on the ground with a flashlight in your mouth. So this one came out pretty good. I like it. I'm a big fan of this car. Super clean. When he's out doing drag and drive, make sure you take a few minutes and stop by and check this one out. It's a beaut. So anyway, thanks for checking it out. And I'm gonna start doing more of these videos covering customers' cars that our customers are okay with making public. We have a lot of customers that are grudge racers, so they don't care to have their stuff shared amongst the masses. But the next car that we got, that's actually on the lift, we already started on it, is Kenny Barnhart's car. It's a Fox body, twin turbo small block Ford, drag and drive deal. When we're wiring it, plumbing it, and doing a whole bunch of stuff. My fab guy, I've talked about him before, Matt Smith at Performance Fab, he built this one. So we're gonna go over this, disregard the blocks of wood in there. They're there, I put them there. And I'll explain why in a later video. But anyway, we're plumbing this one and wiring it, and we already started on it and made some decent progress. But this will be something that I share with everybody because Kenny doesn't care if I share it. So a lot of guys don't like me sharing their stuff, which I can understand. But every now and again, we get a customer who's cool with it. So here we are. But anyway, thanks for checking out Nick's Nova. It's badass, and look for it on the next Drag and Drive. See you.